let's go ahead and get to the next thing. Then this is going to be interesting because it's talking in regards for the black community and the situations that we got going on right now. So this is going to be in regards to rap music, culture, and the community. So let's go ahead and check this out. Let's see where we at.
As people said it's not the black culture, let me tell you what the black culture music promotes. Sex, lust, killing each other, murder. They actually put it in their song that they killed somebody. Talk about robbery, beating cases, shooting people, taking money, making money, scamming, being promiscuous, being a baby mama, sleeping around. The music of the black culture is sex, sin, violence, killing, baby mamas, scammers. You guys how are we not aware since people said it's not the black?
All right, so that was pretty much the gist of hello. That was pretty much the gist of that video.
Okay.
What do you mean? And before you say anything, I want to say that it is not all black music and it is not all the black culture, first and foremost. But I definitely see her point. What you got?
Okay. So when it comes to what she's saying, I get it. Mm-hmm. I get it, right? Because this is one of those topics that I had on my show, doing the most podcasts. Mm-hmm. But the topic was, the music, the culture. Yes, we have that is in our ears a lot, our culture, or just African American music, black music, whatever. It's there, it's popularized, it's mainstream. Mm-hmm. That system that these kids implement in their music, that didn't come from them. That was taught. Then it got taught, now it became reality. So it sucks that they're going through murders and robbing. They're in survival mode.
Okay.
You gotta remember, and then I always tell people, like, in the 70s, late 80s, when Scarface came out, I didn't hear a hip hop song in that thing. It was disco music. But what were they doing? Robbing, killing, drugs. I didn't see Future in there. I didn't hear Eazy-E in there. So the movie Godfather, I didn't see Jay-Z in there. I didn't see Snoop Dogg in there. Didn't hear a song from none of them. But what were they doing? Promoting drugs. Oh, I'm using hand gestures. I gotta.
I'm about to say, I ain't seen nothing what you're talking about.
It says, but yeah. So you have all of these stuff that were promoted in the movies, but now y'all want to talk about, oh, look at the songs. Now let me bring it back here, right? I get it. It might not be positive things that they're saying in their songs, but this is their lifestyle. This is what their reality is. It might suck, but for that to change, y'all have to change the system. Now, who's going to change the system? You just seen Homeboy send a letter to the president. That was 30 years ago.
Okay. So with that being said, would you say that the rap music does affect the youth?
I believe so. A lot of things have, I believe so.
Do you think growing up, because, you already know the household that I lived in. It wasn't
Oh, Jesus.
no rap music or nothing like that. If I listened to anything rap, it was because Shirley had it on the radio when we was driving out and my mom wasn't there.
Yeah.
Or, my parents were home and then she was listening to VH1 or MTV or something like that, and I'm listening to Usher Baby back in the back in the Mo days, and Jada Kiss and all that stuff, and I would hear rap every once in a while. And then it wasn't till so I would be listening to those not really soft raps, but the raps that were allowed. The top songs, of course, they were they weren't the explicit versions on the radio. If it was on the radio, then I heard it. That was the only place that I heard it. I didn't own any CDs of Jay-Z, nothing like that. So if it wasn't on the radio, I didn't hear the rest of the album, so I didn't know what was going on. That really didn't happen until I moved to Georgia, got introduced to LimeWire, and then able to actually hear, okay, there's more.
You don't know about LimeWire. I don't know what you talking about.
You don't know nothing. You haven't heard, seen nothing. You don't know nothing about no lie. So with that in mind, as I got older, I did started to hear, more rap music, obviously, and that became, stuff that was in my ear on the day to day. I was listening to that more than I was listening to Christian music when I was in high school, even though I didn't really do anything. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because when I was in high school, my senior year, I ended up I was growing in my faith to a degree, and I recall, you remember when it was, I think it was my junior year, was when I got baptized, and come my senior year, I really started listening to music for the lyrics. Mm-hmm. And once I started hearing the songs and hearing the lyrics, everything that this woman was saying was in those songs, I stopped listening to those songs.
Okay.
I stopped listening to them because it was, like she was saying, it was all negative to me. Things that I didn't want to, be putting in my ears, to the point where I was listening to the instrumentals, because that's really what I like, was the instrumentals for the most part. And then as I'm listening to the raps and I'm, saying the lyrics and stuff like that, I hit that point where I'm like, hold on, what am I saying right now? I'm sitting here talking about, messing around with homeboy's girl and stuff like that. And meanwhile, homeboy just messed with my girl. Like, what am I doing? Yeah. So I started to switch up, listening to instrumentals, and then started to get back into listening to gospel music, but then going into what I was saying before, just because it's just because we're talking about black culture and black music doesn't mean that it's all black culture and black music. Once I got to college, a lot of what I listened to was like Lupe Fiasco, some of Kanye, J. Cole, depending on the song, of course, Kendrick. I was on that vibe, and I was very selective on the songs. If the song was like saying too much, then I really didn't listen to those. But again, that was just coming from me and the conviction that I had in my heart. And the last point that I wanted to bring up, which was actually interesting, because as you know, I'm heavy in the church. I play the bass guitar at my church, so a lot of times all I'm listening to is gospel music. I don't even listen to like even like calm like R&B or hip hop or anything like that. It's just because I'm always playing music. So going straight to the point, I went to the gym one time. I was going through my playlist and I was like, oh snap, there go my rap playlist. Let me reminisce real quick. I'm playing,
God forgive me, I'm getting out of faith a little bit. And you go down memory lane, and
bro, let me tell you, I was in the gym listening to that playlist, and it's like upbeat crunk music and all that stuff. Bro, I was pumping the iron like I was stupid. I'm walking out the gym thinking I'm like 3 something all muscle. And then next thing I know, I'm going down the highway still listening to the music and I'm speeding and I'm like not even thinking about it. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Wait a second.
Not you blaming music for you speeding. That's wild.
Yo, bro, it was weird. It was weird, and I didn't know what that feeling was. And the thing is, those songs weren't even too heavy on the stuff that she was mentioning, the drugs, the sex, and all that. But like, there was a adrenaline rush that I felt listening to that music, and I'm like, I need to calm down just a bit. Some people feed off of that. Some people, need that to go through their workouts or need that to go through their days. I choose other methods, but I say all that to ask. Rap music is the most powerful cultural export on the planet right now. Mm-hmm. We kind of mentioned it, but do you think it's building up the community or is it selling us a lifestyle that is burying us?
Damn, that's a double-edged sword right there. Because it builds us and it brings us to, as you said, to our detrimental. Because you gotta remember, it builds people up. Because not every, like Meek Mill says his song's inspirational. Like they say Future is one of the most gangsters. Not like it's the most inspirational something type of music. Andre 3000 said it. You know. Yeah, it's a lifestyle, but you gotta remember they're talking about they got out of the gutter. Just like in Batman, right, with Bane, that little girl that got out of the crab in the barrel situation.
Okay.
So people like don't know. No, let me bring a little bit back. When you say you was pumped up and everything, it's the beats per minute because I DJ, and the beats per minute, that's your heart rate. It was an episode of the Wayans Brothers that they was doing a ritual, African ritual. There was beat.
I remember that one.
Yeah, it was his birthday. They cut the leather out of Marlon's jacket to make the drum for he could keep his heart. And if the drum stopped, his heart stopped.
This heart.
So you weren't. You could have played the instrumental. You since the beats per minute was high, your adrenaline's up. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So in church, a lot of church music are slow songs. Marvin Sapp and all that. But Kirk Franklin had those high BPM songs. Mm-hmm. All them chunks got you energized. You could. I went to clubs and niggas played Kirk Franklin
just to get that upbeat that he got on.
Just think about it. Kirk Franklin was accepted in the club,
which is. I have my quarrels with Kirk.
Well, see,
go ahead.
Listen. Kirk Franklin is still part of this earth. He still has human experiences. He still feels the way he does his thing. Yeah, I remember he cursed out his son. That's just life. Yeah, he done stuff. I think they're mad at him because now he takes off his shirt or whatever. It's like he's healthy. He wants to. He wears a tight shirt because he's in the gym. He's not like Marvin Sapp, TD Jakes, out of shape. There was a big light skinned singer. Like, he's not like them. He says, listen, it's like he's peacocking. You wear a nice suit to show that I have money or whatever. He says, I don't need a suit. Here's just a plain white shirt for $10 or $50 and it's tight. Oh, we don't like that. He's dancing. What? Come on. So let me get back from that again. But the music, yes, it could be a double-edged sword. But there's another thing I tell people. People don't know how to separate the two. Case in point. Actors. Jaleel White. Steve Urkel.
Yeah.
He was a childhood star celebrity.
Right.
He can't get a role that much like that because people still see him as a little kid as Steve Urkel. Yeah. But he's like 50 years old. Then you have, I remember there was an episode of Bernie Mac. He tried to play a serious role. He, in his eyes and everybody's eyes, he did good, but they can't take him serious because they see him as
Bernie Mac. Yeah.
They can't separate it. To me, like I said, I listen to music. I listen to instrumentals too. I was on that point. But sometimes I just separate it. I'm like, I was just like, you know what? Hey, listen, they talking about what they talking about. That's cool. That's cool. I f- the beat, and you got to learn how to filter it, and that's how I see it as.
So, with that being said, you mentioned not too long ago in regards to people, in the music, they're talking about the lifestyles, their upbringings, and stuff like that, which is true. Do you think rap nowadays is still representative of that?
People are talking about what they're going through, what they've been through. Some people make up lies, but it relates to someone that is living it, just like movies.
Okay.
The movies, let's say like a Tyler Perry movie, they're talking about, black women getting divorced and
Right.
cheating and all that. That's real situations. Not everybody can relate to it. Just probably the people that is part of his followings can relate to it, or people that he will bring in. So it's all about relating. You feel me? So, it's their life.
Do you ever feel? How do I put this? Do you ever feel that, depending on the music, depending on the artist, let's say the music that she's talking to, the artist that she's talking to specifically, that has all these, I guess you would say negative traits, but I guess it would depend on who you're talking to, whether it's negative or not. Because some people, they may be like, I don't think, and you can go to anybody and be like, drugs are, maybe a drug addict will say that drugs are okay, but like when it comes to drugs, when it comes to money, a lot of people are okay with that. Where was I going with this? Do you think that it is detrimental to some people in the community? Because you have mentioned that a lot of people can relate to that, yes. And a lot of people in New Jersey, based off of where you live, Newark, Linden, Roselle, not from Rahway, because, come on, it's Rahway.
Rahway, what? Nigga, you haven't been to Rahway yet.
Exactly.
Rahway's
So, like, those areas, you can understand that. But then when I come down here to Georgia, and I see all these black kids that are living in the suburbs, and they acting out as though they live in Elizabeth and Newark.
Yeah.
Where do you think that influence could have been from? If it wasn't from the music?
Well, it's probably from the music or it's from television, because it don't matter from the top or the bottom. It doesn't matter if it's music or whatever. Like I told you, Scarface didn't have a hip hop soundtrack. So
right.
Now the music, they could blame the music. Go ahead, blame the music. You feel me? But at the end of the day, it's something they heard or seen. So,
right.
And I get it. People feel that they want to align with it, and that's what's happening. People want to align with certain things because, one, it's cool, or they're just following a crowd. There's many different reasons why a person is doing what they're doing. I don't know, but I just know that I've seen white kids,
they're starting
Indian
to get to
kids,
the other cultures.
They start saying nigga.
Yeah.
They be like, yo, nigga, what up? I'm like, did you say nigga and you Indian? I'm like,
not the Indians. That's crazy.
they like, oh, you nigga. I'm like,
oh my gosh, man.
I seen white people, say nigga, but then when you start seeing like the Russians type of people, then you start seeing the Indians. It shocks
Jersey.
you. It shocks you how many people say nigga. It shocks you how many people love being, I guess you could say the culture, but whatever. They just love. I think black people, because you gotta remember, black people niggas are pushed in front of you everywhere. You got NBA, and you gotta remember, Stephen Curry's a hard-body Christian, but you will still see him dressed in, like, let's say, off-white. He might have some drip on him. Yeah. So he's still taking from this culture that people are shunning. And, it's just a lot. It's just a lot. It's a lot.
Sheesh, that's crazy. So with that being said, and these aren't even questions that I had. It's just a topic in general, because
that's cool.
Because I find this very, like, this is kind of like, I see how I grew up, and me being rebellious of the way that I grew up to now being a parent and understanding why my parents raised me the way that I did, the way that they did. It's like at this point in life, the next generation and how they're raised up is important. It says in Proverbs that we shouldn't, keep the rod from our kids, and we got to raise our kids up the way that we want them to be. If we don't want them to really be affiliated or have this type of music, have these type of music or movies within their environment often, so that they pick up these habits, then of course they keep them away. So another thing that I've been thinking about that caught my attention is when it comes to these rappers and it comes to these artists, they'll rap the things that they talk about, talking about shooting up homeboy, talking about, sleeping with his girl, and then talk about getting money over everything and all this, that, and the third, and only caring for money. But then you'll see them go to an event and that has a whole bunch of kids and, try to uplift them and encourage them. How do you, to me, that's kind of like, bro, what's going on here? Like, you're here for the PR. It just seems like a PR stunt. But I feel like a lot of them do actually care, but don't realize that the stuff that these kids are listening to every day is giving them a different mindset. So how do we overcome that?
I call that the Nino Brown effect.
Nino Brown.
Nino Brown, that was from New Jack City. In New Jack City, Nino Brown was like the big head honcho played by Wesley Snipes. And what he would do is he would kill people, sell drugs in the community, and poison as they say, the community. Then what he would do, let's say on the weekends or whatever, he would go to the church, the pastor's with him, and he'll give out money to the kids or do give back on the turkeys and stuff like that. So, but you got to remember, like I said, politicians, everybody does this shit, bro. It's just not hip hop. I've seen politicians do some wild stuff. They got mistresses and stuff like that.
Right.
It's not just hip hop. They've been doing this stuff before hip hop.
Right.
It's just hip hop. It's just they put it in their music now. They're like, well, look, they're doing it. Blame them. It's like they were doing. Hip hop is 50 years old. Hitler, when he was killing people, was he listening to The Game? Was he listening to Lil Wayne? Them niggas wasn't even born yet. So at the end of the day, yeah, I get it. Like, y'all could blame hip hop for a lot, but come on, bro, they got it from somewhere. This mindset didn't just appear. You feel me?
Okay. I respect it. Let's see. All right. So then, in your opinion, who's really responsible for what gets pushed? The artist making it, the labels funding it, or us for streaming it?
All three. Everybody gets blamed.
All three. Everybody gets blamed.
Yeah, everybody gets blamed. Everybody gets blamed. Because at the end of the day, they're talking about, what they experience and who possibly made that. Probably people losing jobs back in those days in the 70s and 80s, causing these people to not have a father in their life or a mother. Shouts out to Ronald Reagan. If you ever watched that documentary was super powerful. He said to the people, he said, we're going to get a whole bunch of new jobs. Then the crack came. After that, what came after? DIFUS. After DIFUS came, a whole bunch of drug like cops, departments started popping up. And now, DIFUS, taking kids left and right. Drug departments are skyrocketing. So Ronald Reagan said he's going to give a lot of people jobs, and he did it. So who can we blame? Who can we blame? There's a lot of fingers that can be pointed. So I'm not going to just blame the hip-hop artists, the label, and the consumers. Everybody gets to blame. No one can point fingers like this. Everybody gets to blame.
Gotcha. All right. So, moving that, can you separate and be for real? Can you separate the art from the message?
Yes.
Oh, when kids memorize every word has a message already won.
Well, you said me to be honest, and so you're talking about me as a
Okay, as an individual.
21-year-old male. Yes, I can separate. So I don't like how you laughing.
Oh man.
Yeah. So,
I hear a lot
So-
of these people. You're 25.
hey, listen. Listen. Once I turned 21, I stopped counting. Why?
Okay.
I could buy liquor. I can vote. I could do everything but rent a car. But when you got money in your own car, renting it. You get a chauffeur and Uber. So yeah. But yeah, can you separate it? Yes, I separate it all the time. Like,
Okay.
cause I done met celebrities. That I'm not gonna go up to them like, yo, kick the lyrics or whatever, or what
Right.
up, my nigga, and just try to like, yo, you a gangster. I see them. You're a human being. You're a regular person. How are you doing? You good? You need help with something? You good? Like, you feel me? I separate that. You feel me? Because, like Michael Jackson, he said he just want to be a normal person. And if you ever watch that movie, he'll go to, like, to stores with masks and stuff like that for he could just go in there and just, see how it feels to be normal. You feel
Right.
me? If I was to see Michael Jackson, I probably want to pass out. I'm like, yo, Mike, yo, good music, yo. You're at McDonald's, what you want? You want a double cheeseburger? All right, I might give you extra hot sauce or, you know what I mean, honey mustard. So, yeah, can people separate it? Can I separate? Yes. Can other people? That takes a lot of brain power, focus, understanding. It takes a lot. So
at that point, it's a matter of if you can, you can. If you can, you can.
pretty much. And like I said, that goes from seeing celebrities, like I said, like the Jaleel White, to music. Some people just don't know how to separate it. So it sucks, But
Yeah, I see that. For me, and just based off of where I am in life, I become very conscious of what affects other people, and not really try to find an answer to whatever issue that they may have going on, but trying to see what's the cause of it and possibly find an alternative. One of the things that I'm seeing a lot, especially with the youth, is, of course, social media. But like you said, everything plays a part in the way that these kids are being raised and how they're coming up and their behaviors as they're getting older. So to me, it's like if what I'm doing can negatively affect somebody else. Now, you can't monitor absolutely everybody.
yeah.
So that part is, but if the overall message is negative, to me, I wouldn't do it, because again, I'm affecting the young adults, I'm affecting the youth, I'm affecting those coming up, those kids that, just like us, don't have parents that aren't monitoring us 24/7. So we do hear these words, we do hear these lyrics, we are bringing it to school, people saying we cool and stuff like that, so we keep on doing it. The next thing you know, we find that to be a part of our lives, because that's just what allows us to bring in that community. But that all comes stemming from the music that we listen to, or like you said, the movie that we watched, or the TV show that was on, or even like homeboy that lives down the street who we thought was cool, and then now he's doing X, Y, Z and stuff. So to me, I'm trying to, or I live in a sphere where everybody's life is important enough for me to not do something that can clearly be negative to somebody else. The words that's coming out my mouth could clearly be negative for somebody else, trying to avert from that. But I mean, again, we live in this world. People are gonna do what it is that they gotta do. People are gonna do what they need to in order to get up. I mean, we see it all day with a lot of the athletes, a lot of, the rappers. They got out of their situation, and now look at Snoop Dogg. You would have never known this man was who he was. Snoop Dogg, The Game. What was it?
Ice Cube, especially.
Ice. Oh yes. Yeah. Oh, you would have never thought Ice Cube was the same man from the past, man.
Yeah.
And it's crazy, but I mean, I don't know. It's go ahead.
Like there was this time, right? Ice Cube, right? I forgot what show I was watching, but the mother was like, it was the generational gap. The mother was like, "Oh yeah, Ice Cube was this gangster guy from." He's like, "Who's Ice Cube?" They're like, "Oh, Ice Cube. He was gangster. The guy from Are We There Yet?"
Are we there? And you're like, wait, that's how you know him?
So,
yo.
Yeah. But you know what it is? And that's the thing. They both know one person, but they know them for two different things. Yeah. This is when they have to align to understand, like, this is this person. He had done this back in those days. Now he's converted,
and now he come to where older, he is now.
So that's what I'm saying. Communication is very important. Trust me. If communication can change everything.
Yeah.
Communication, understanding each other could change everything. Like B2K back in those days, they separated them because they're all little boys. B2K, they was like, yo, he's talking about you. He talking about you. This. No one really. When they did try to have a meeting to sit down, somebody already put bugs in the air, so they're already charged up. Like, yo, I'm gonna come in here and not listen. But if they would have sat there and probably talked, they probably win it. So that's communication can save everything. If you look at any TV show like Power, that TV show Power, communication, all that shit. And the name of the club that he owned was called Truth. Come on, bro. Do you hear what's going on? Do you see how they put it in your face? They put it in your face all the time. So that's why when I look at people that don't understand, it's like, what are you watching, man? What are you watching?
Fair enough, man.